Hello everyone! So, many of you may be aware of this one game that's booming in popularity currently, Palworld. A survival game with monster catching mechanics similar to Pokemon, design similar to Pokemon, and a lot more similarities, which lead people to mostly write it off as Pokemon but Survival, Pokemon but Arc, or Pokemon with guns. But it's so much more than that under the surface. After hearing all the good things about it from my friends and through social media, I decided to check it out for myself. So today, I'm going to be telling you my experiences with Palworld. But, before we get into it, I gotta do the generic YouTuber thing. Less than 2% of my viewers are actually subscribed to the channel, so if you haven't already, please do that. It helps me make more stuff like this. And if we get to 500 subscribers, I'll be doing a Q&A and answering all of your questions, so stay tuned. With that being said, let's begin! We start the game out by opening our eyes and seeing 3 pals running off into the distance. And me, still thinking this goes by Pokemon rules, had the thought that these were just the starters and that I had to pick one to accompany me on the journey. But instead...
Some worry. Now stand back. This boy's going into orbit.
No, please don't!
4.
While trying to get a better feel for my surroundings, I came across a human sitting next to a campfire, who then proceeded to tell me,
"The pals, they've destroyed everything. Eaten everyone. Don't even try to go near the towers. The people in there would break every bone in your body. If you want to survive out here, you'll need to learn how to for yourself. How to craft, and how to capture pals. They may look somewhat friendly, but stay on guard. They won't ever let their guard down, so you shouldn't either. Stay safe out there."
And then I look to the side and see a land ball, and I start to wonder if they really meant every single pal or just a few. Then again, it can use a move called Air Cannon, so maybe I shouldn't underestimate it. At this point, I'm simply ecstatic to get my first starter, but instead, I get taught how to build a workbench, and then build a wooden bat. I defeat a land ball, feel extremely bad about it since I had to do it with my own dead hands, and then grab the materials necessary to create a pal spear. So I finally go, search around for a little bit, and catch another land ball, my first pal. While this all went down, night starts to set in, and that's when I learned about another core mechanic. It's cold at night. This means, without clothing, I'll freeze if I'm not next to a fire. Because I didn't invest my tech points into a campfire, I had to sit still next to that one person for the whole night. Fun. Once morning finally came around, I managed to catch a few more pals, most notably a Foxbark, who will be important later. I also passed by the boss Palworld, however, I was not nearly close to fighting it because it's really high leveled. From there, I managed to find space in front of the nearby tower to set up a good base. This is probably a good time for me to mention what the towers are. They're essentially the door to a super boss that you have to beat under a time limit for a big reward. But the boss's level was level 10, and my level was less than half of that. So instead, I took the time to get a pinglet and named it Skipper after one of the penguins of Madagascar. It wasn't until scripting this that I found out it's a girl, but I'm too lazy to change it now, so deal with it. I headed back to my base, made an axe to get some wood, and fought a few nearby land balls to make a bed and a room for myself. And by a room, I mean a box, so that way I can use the rest of my wood for a pal bed. This means that I can start having pals work my base while I'm away. I put Skipper up to the job and built some random things to rank up my base, including a pal workbench, so that way I can make special pal equipment, like a saddle for Alpaca or a rocket launcher for Skipper to be shot out of. Yes, that's not a joke, this is real. But the first one that I managed to get was Foxbark's harness, which makes me able to have a makeshift flamethrower on demand, except this one you can pet, so it's equally better in my opinion. Now that I have the power of flames on my side, I decided to go try to fight a boss that I accidentally found earlier while getting wood. Chillet. Chillet is a level 11 boss, but it was also an ice type, so fire would probably do some good damage. I was right. I ended up beating it and gaining an ancient tech point, making it so I was able to build an egg incubator. With this, I could start hatching the eggs that spawn around the world, and since I had a few, I put one in the incubator and decided to go away from the base for a little bit. I caught a Liftmunk, Daydream, and some other land balls, came back to the base, only to be warned that the base was being attacked. At first, I was a bit confused on what's going on, because all I saw were 2 little birds. But those two birds were Tokotos, aka the electrodes of this game, aka... and they were just strong enough that they managed to explode in the base. Thankfully, nothing was destroyed, but I was scared anyways. It was also a tiny bit amplified when I saw Memoris running around my base at the same time. I did end up defeating it at the cost of some of my base pals being out of commission for a while, and my Statue of Power, aka my upgrade station, being destroyed in the process, and it wasn't even the boss one, so I got no ancient tech points for it. Fun! I rebuilt the statue and managed to get the ability to craft Liftmonk's special item, and...
Can I have a berry now?
you know what's funnier, the fact that it knows how to use the thing or the initial shock from seeing it? Do you note that there's no blood or anything? Like at all? So my headcanon is that it's just shooting a little acorns at point blank. As soon as I got this, I decided to deal with the neighboring thug camp. Dealing with the camp itself was easy, but one of the thugs caught me off guard and I panicked and threw a pal spear at him. But you know, it's fine, I didn't really catch him. Oh no. That's exactly how I figured out that you can capture certain people in PAL spheres, but it's incredibly hard to do it because it has astronomically low odds of working, and I just did it by accident. I ended up releasing him because keeping him in a ball felt really inhumane. I did a little bit of grinding, and then stumbled upon this boss arena holding a Pen King, so I went in thinking it was going to be easy since my pals were at least close to its level. Eventually, I quit trying for a while and decided to offhandedly go and try to beat the tower. So I got new armor, a Daydream necklace, that way I can have an extra attacker, another Daydream so that the effect stacks, and headed in. Zoe and Grisbolt, despite a low level, are a monumental threat. They do huge damage, have over 30,000 health, and can almost always attempt to hit you anywhere in the arena. Dodge rolling is mandatory if you don't have a pal to ride, and if you do, save your sprint. They also like to jump out of the sky and pounce on you, which I could never figure out how to dodge reliably. I mostly stayed on the defensive stance by staying far away and using Fox Sparks when I decided to move closer. Then eventually, with about 3 minutes left on the clock, they finally went down.